The United States has been stunned for days by images of a smoke-filled New York, where residents are coping with the unfamiliar problem of extreme air pollution. Authorities have issued air quality alerts for the East Coast due to smoke from Canadian wildfires, and people have once more donned N95 face masks, which have been largely forgotten about since the pandemic. People post images of the apocalyptic scene and advice on how to reduce health risks on social media. These scenes are uncommon in the US outside of West Coast states like California, which regularly experience wildfires. Fighting smog, however, is nothing new halfway around the world. And as the climate crisis worsens, the extreme air pollution brought on by noxious smoke, gases, and industrial chemicals that suffocates many major cities across Asia for much of the year could become the standard for many more everywhere. According to monitoring network IQAir, 6 of the top 10 most polluted cities in the world last year were in India. Researchers have calculated that poor air quality may be cutting hundreds of millions of Indians' life expectancy by as much as 9 years. In 2019, air pollution is thought to have contributed to nearly 1.6 million fatalities nationwide. Due to a number of factors, including vehicle emissions, coal-fired power plants, and the yearly practice of burning agricultural fields to prepare land for its next crop, the nation's capital New Delhi is frequently enveloped in smog. This indicates that the region's population is exposed to high concentrations of fine particulate matter, or PM2.5, a commonly used sign of harmful air pollution. The tiny pollutant is extremely dangerous, and has been linked to health issues like asthma and heart disease. When inhaled, it can penetrate deeply into lung tissue and enter the bloodstream. New York is currently covered in the pollutant as a result of sources like the burning of fossil fuels, dust storms, and wildfires. The highest PM2.5 concentration was recorded in New York on Wednesday afternoon, at 303.3 micrograms per cubic meter. London recorded 9.4 micrograms per cubic meter on Wednesday, and Hong Kong recorded 21 micrograms per cubic meter, both safely within IQAir's good range. According to World Health Organization guidelines, the maximum average annual level is 5 micrograms per cubic meter. The disruptions that air pollution can cause to daily life are also all too common in many Southeast Asian nations, particularly during the annual stubble burning season, when farmers burn the straw stubble left over after harvesting grains. More than 400 schools across the globe had to close in 2019 as a result of the extremely poor air quality in Malaysia, which resulted in dozens of students getting sick and vomiting. A few months later, Malaysia was once more enveloped in a thick haze brought on by extensive forest fires in nearby Indonesia that were allegedly started to clear land for the production of paper, palm oil, and other industries. More recently, due to smoke from forest fires and crop burning elsewhere in the region, Thailand's northern city of Chiang Mai earned the unenviable title of world's most polluted city for at least a week straight in April. Many people sought medical care for respiratory conditions like asthma and shortness of breath, and one hospital reported that the wards were so crowded that they had to turn some patients away. Beijing, however, is arguably the city with the worst reputation for air pollution, and the one that has most successfully reversed the situation. Residents of the Chinese capital have been exposed to noxious air for years. According to the US Embassy in Beijing, which kept a daily air quality monitor, it culminated in the infamous 2013 airpocalypse, when the air quality index hit 755, smashing what was supposed to be the top of the scale at 500. Due to the air quality being so dangerously high, locals were compelled to stay inside, wear filtered face masks, and turn up their air purifiers. Following the incident, China launched a broad anti-pollution campaign, closing coal mines and coal plants, setting up nationwide air monitoring stations, and implementing new regulations. The event garnered international media attention and brought the issue into China's mainstream. Even though China has recently returned to coal and is building new power plants quickly, even as more and more nations turn to renewable energy, there are still problems, but it is clear that the capital has improved. Photos now show mostly clear skies in the city. In 2021, Beijing recorded its best monthly air quality since records first began in 2013. As smoke from Canada's wildfires covers the northeast, New York City's air pollution is among the worst in the world. It's a positive development and proof that improving air quality can be accomplished with the right investments and policies. However, scientists and industry professionals caution that even cities with typically good air quality, like New York, cannot escape the challenges that lie ahead. The hot and dry conditions that encourage the start and spread of wildfires have been made worse by human-caused climate change. According to recent reports, the largest fossil fuel and cement producers in the world are responsible for millions of acres burned by wildfires in the western US and Canada, an area roughly the size of South Carolina. After consulting with US President Joe Biden on how to put out the Quebec fires, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made a statement on Wednesday, referencing the devastating impacts of climate change. The perfect image for how world leaders have failed to stop the climate crisis, tweeted scientist and climate advocate Lucky Tran on Wednesday, adding in a separate post that today New Yorkers and East Coasters are experiencing this impact firsthand. The United Nations building in New York is barely visible through orange smog.